If you were thinking of buying yourself a Porsche Boxster or a Cayman, what would you do? You'd go on Auto Trader, have a look at some cars, you maybe check out a few forums to get some advice. But you wouldn't really know what these cars are like until you speak to an owner and get his opinion. In today's video, I've got together a group of friends who own Porsches and Caymans, and I'm going to ask them what's it really like to own these cars. Because if you are in the market for one, I feel like the best advice is going to come from the people who own them. My name's Trevor Joseph, you're watching Rolling Slow Media, and today we're going to find out what it's like to own and buy and maintain, and how much fun are the Porsche Boxsters and the Porsche Caymans. Stay tuned if you're in the market for one. Morning.
Hi
Guys, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
How's it going, Trevor?
It's brilliant. Thank you for giving me your time this Sunday morning. And thanks for the coffee. Cool. So today I got you all together because I'm considering buying myself a Boxster or a Cayman, and I've spent some time on Auto Trader looking at cars. I've been on a few forums to get some buyer's advice, but I don't think you ever really know what you're going to get into unless you speak to some owners. So today I've gathered you all because I really want to pick your brains about what it's like to own a Boxster and a Cayman. What's the maintenance like? What's the driving pleasure of these cars like? What made you choose these cars over other mid-engine or two-seat sports cars? And yeah, I really want to kind of walk away from this feeling like I know exactly what I want to get and what I'm getting into. So I guess I'll start with you. Can you share your experience about maintenance with your car and these cars?
I don't do a lot of maintenance on it myself. I'd rather let somebody that knows what they're talking about do it. I check my drain holes, which is really important on a Boxster. Not too much. Change your oil every 6,000 to 10,000 miles. Put good oil in it, filter, but not a lot of maintenance from me. But let someone else do it that knows what they're talking about.
I think the drain holes is an interesting one actually, because I understand in some of the versions they have certain circuitry underneath the passenger seat, and if the drain holes are blocked, that's the water gets in there.
Right.
So I didn't know that until a short while ago, so it's an interesting thing to check out, and I'll be doing that. But in terms of the rest of the maintenance, again, I just do the oil, water and bits and pieces like that. Check the tyres, but leave it to an independent or Porsche.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I've had the car now 5.5 years, and it's been very reliable. It's not, in that time I've not even had an engine light come on or anything.
Yeah.
So keep your phones on, because when I go home tonight it's going to go. But no, I just make sure that it's serviced every year. Even if I've done not a lot of mileage, I make sure it's always had an oil change, because that's the main thing. And if there's anything that I can hear or notice that don't seem right, then I'll get it checked straight away.
Yeah.
But it's just make sure you keep on top of it and just don't let any problems turn into big ones, really.
So Porsche recommend servicing interval every 2 years. So go minor, major, like that. So every 2 years is a brake fluid change.
Yeah.
On my choice, on a 12-year-old car, is mostly independent, so find a good one and have a chat to them, get some recommendations, online reviews and things, see how they are, have a chat to fellow owners as well, see what their experiences are, try and find a good independent, and then that's what I've chosen to do, with occasional trips to a main dealer for something that might be very difficult to find, like an electric gremlin that they need their own troubleshooting diagnostic tools for, so that's called PWIS. There's a PWIS 3, I think it's the latest one, or maybe 4 now, but some of the independents have like 1s and 2s. So to get the good diagnosis done fairly quickly, sometimes it's worth going to a main dealer for diagnosis stuff. Obviously, if your car's in warranty, like some of the newer ones are, then you're sort of tied into that and benefits from that. And if you've got extended warranty as well, then you've got benefits from the main dealer servicing. But I think for me and some of the older cars, it's a good independent when they occasional pop into a main dealer. Sometimes they do like a health check, like a winter or summer health check, and they'll talk you around the car underneath and see how things are and point things out to you without any sort of shopping to try and get you to stay with them and get that work done. It's your choice what to do afterwards. Upselling.
In terms of day-to-day use, how has the Porsche Boxster performed? Now, I know some of you have daily drivers and the Boxsters are your weekend drives, and some of you use the Boxster as your daily drive. So we'll start with you, Trev.
Well, I don't use mine during the week, to be honest. My son and I might go out on a sunny evening. Mine's really a weekend car, to be fair. But it's plenty of room in front and the back, so if you do need to use it, there's plenty of room there. But I know Jonathan does use his during the week, so I'll pass over to him.
Yeah, so I is a daily driver, and it's been so reliable in the amount of time that I've had it. I think one of the things that I found difficult, I leave the car outside during the winter, and when it's icy, one of the things you've got to watch out for is the windows. So when you open the door, the window drops by about 1 centimetre. Now, if the window's iced up, then that can damage the window motor. So I think the thing there is I just put warm water in a plastic bag, melt the ice on that particular window, and then you can get in the car and use the heater to, heat it all up and melt the ice, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, my one's basically just a weekend car, and then for events like this. So during the week, it sits in the garage. What I would always advise, not just on a Porsche, but any car that you've got that you keep hidden away, is always have it on trickle charge. Just make sure that the battery's always topped up, that it's being kept going by the trickle charger, because particularly with the Porsches as well, if the battery goes, it's not just a manual latch to open the bonnet to get to the battery. It's electrical, so you've then got to go into the fuse box, jump start the metal connector there just to get the frunk open. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So just always make sure you keep it on charge.
So mine's I could use it as a daily, but I choose not to have it as a daily, as a weekend or to special events. So for road trips abroad, which is where the car really comes to life, I feel, UK roads are okay, motorways are okay, but there's some fantastic roads in Europe, France and Germany, especially on the French toll roads, absolutely brilliant, nice and smooth. Went on a road trip in 2019 to the Alps, so having the roof down, driving around the Alps, absolutely fantastic. Eats up the miles really well, nice and comfy. I can't say much more, but than having 2 boots for a European trip abroad. You get to sort of middle of France, roughly about in the middle of France in a day's drive. So you get to your hotel, open your boots, front and rear, get your bags out into the hotel, and then you either keep going like that, something every day.
Do you feel like there's enough frunk and boot space for a road trip, or do you ever feel like
for 2,
I need a little bit more space?
For 2. The front boot is quite deep,
right?
So you get two sports bags, I would say, like head bags in there with some loose stuff on the top, and then the rear boot is sort of thinner but wider, so your golf clubs can fit into.
We're part of our group. We're going to Spain in May, and we're actually looking into the packing now. And you know, we have to pack carefully. Not just big holdalls. You have to sort of put little bags in corners and bits and pieces. But
use every, like Tetris.
That's right, definitely. Yeah, every little area, put stuff in. So yeah, pack carefully.
So I went on a road trip this year, and I took my golf, and I had stuff in my boot, I had stuff on the back seat, and while I was out there, I was thinking, if I had a Porsche, if I had a Cayman, I wouldn't be able to carry half of this stuff.
That's right. That is right. Yeah.
I even brought packed lunch. I brought because I stayed in an Airbnb. I brought loads of food. I was like, if I had a Cayman, I would have to I couldn't buy that. I'd have to eat there. You know, I couldn't bring anything with me.
No, it's packing. You've got to be really careful. But we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to going there because I've done the Pyrenees on motorbikes before, but just going in the Boxster with the roof down. Really looking forward to it. Should be good.
The common problems that you would have for your particular model. We start with the oldest.
Yeah, I think mine's the oldest model here. So if you're looking to get into a 986, you're talking about a car that's 20 years plus now.
Yeah.
So the likelihood is, if it's not been done already, you're going to be looking at maybe a front suspension refresh.
Yeah.
Because control arms, joints, rubbers, and things like that are all going to be perishing.
With the 981, the micro switches can go in the roof. That's something to be aware of, and some of the switches inside for the front and rear luggage compartments, and the windows as well. They can snap off. Other than that, it's pretty good.
Regular maintenance is just oil, water, that kind of stuff, which I think everybody does anyway. And anything else, I'd take it to an independent or to a Porsche dealer.
Thank you. So maintenance, I've got 987.2. So that's 12 years old, so it's well out of any warranty. So I choose independent for any scheduled and routine maintenance. So servicing's every 2 years, Porsche suggest. So that's minor, major, minor, major. So that's a brake fluid change every 2. And common problems, as Neil just sort of mentioned, there's certainly suspension. So that's coffin arms and tuning forks at the front. That's knocking as you're driving along or going around a corner. Then there's coolant pipes at the front, so just in front of the front wheel are 2 coolant pumps that run across the car, and they manifest themselves by a leak. So you get some water crystals at the leak. The join that indicates the leak has just started, so that's a coolant system drain. That's 35, 40 litres. It's a lot of coolant that comes out. So that's a known thing to you will have at some point. And then also at the front are the condensers for the air conditioning. So at the front bumper, where the air comes in, they are the first component for the airflow that the airflow hits, and they should be dry. And when they start to go, and all the water that goes in there, and the stones and the leaves that get sucked in there. If you haven't got grills on, so look for a car with grills. If that started to corrode, then that's a damp patch which is starting to go across, and start to see that. So that's the time to get them changed. So that's a drain of the air conditioning fluid. Change those components and then put them back on again, and I think that's a common across all Porsche models without grills on the front. So grills on the front are a good idea.
For someone considering to buy a Porsche Boxster, if you could give sum up advice, what would you give them? What would you say?
As the guys have said before, a condition is super important. It's got to be in good condition. It's got to look nice. It's got to sound nice. Have a look underneath. Has the oil been changed regularly? As the owner, a decent person, you think they've looked after that particular car, because you're going to spend all your hard-earned money on that. It's got to be right. Service history, is it up to date? Is there any misses in it? Condition is super important.
Right.
So I've got one of the 718s, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you've got to go for the flat six, the older models, because it's the one to go for."
Yeah.
I would say don't discount the 718. It's got a 2-litre turbo or a 2.5 litre. Mine's a 2-litre, and it's great, absolutely great. Sounds great, goes great, so fantastic. I would agree with what Trevor was saying about making sure that the condition and the service history is really good. There are people out there that do independent inspections of the cars, so if you're not confident enough to make sure that everything's okay yourself, get someone to do it. It'll be the best couple of £100 that you've actually spent out in a long time, because the problems can be huge if you get a wrong and it can turn into a big money pit. So that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, I think depending on what kind of drive you like, you know, if you're into more of a classic car like the 986, it's going to be a lot more analog. You know, it's going to be pretty much, you know, a gear stick and the steering wheel and away you go, really. But what I would say, because these cars are relatively cheap, they do fall in the hands of people that can afford to buy them but not maintain them. So, like I said before, stick to what car has been looked after the best, that's got the best service on it. Don't be too hung up on it has to be an S model or it has to be this or that. At that age, just make sure you're buying one that's been well maintained, well looked after, because if they do start failing, it's not cheap.
So there are some buyer's guides online. Various clubs have them for different models. So that would be, I would say, just a first toe in the water for what you should buy and a brief description about each type of model. Obviously choose the one that you like the look of. And looks are important, I would say, so don't have to go for an older classic one. Whatever your eye is drawn to, try because that's going to be the one for you as a starting point. Then, like the guys have said, really, it's sort of buying on condition first, then mileage, and then service history, generally in that order. There's no such thing as a cheap Porsche. So if there's a 718 up for cheap money, then there's going to be a very good reason why it's a standout cheap model. So generally steer clear from that.
Cool. That's it, guys. I think I've made up my mind, and I'm going to get myself a Boxster. What model? What year? I'll trade in the Porsche.
Agree on which model to get. I mean, it's a personal thing.
Well, no, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been a pleasure having you guys here, and really picking your brains about these cars, because I feel a bit more informed now when it comes to making my final decision, and I'm hoping that people who watch this video will also feel the same way. So thank you so much, guys. Cheers. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I hope that you find this video useful if you are in the market for a Porsche Boxster or a Cayman. They're great cars to have, they're super affordable, and it's a really great way to get into Porsche ownership. So if you are in the market, I hope this video was helpful to you, and I wish you good luck in your pursuit. Well, that's the end, so please, if you haven't subscribed already, it would be a great help for my channel if you could, and if you know anyone that likes this kind of content, please share it. Until the next video, I will see you then. Take care. Peace.